and talk about the Mark and Patricia McCloskey story. You remember the folks in St. Louis? Remember when the raging BLM mob came to their neighborhood, private neighborhood, broke down the gate. The gate said private, no entry. This wasn't a public sidewalk. These people in this neighborhood owned the entire thing. It was all private.
Like Culberth Isles.
Exactly. You should be allowed to have private areas. I mean, look, these mansions that were built back in the boom in St. Louis, and I don't know exactly the time frame, but say early 20th century, these giant mansions were built when St. Louis was really booming. There was a lot of industry there. There was a lot of things going on, a lot of factories, a lot of titans of industry, and they had these big, beautiful homes. But then after that sort of went away, those homes fell into disrepair. And then some of the folks in St. Louis who had the money to do this kind of project, because renovating an old home is like, they call it a money pit for a reason. You just keep throwing money in the pit. The pit doesn't ever seem to fill up. You never can finish. But the folks renovated all these old homes, put their treasure, put their lives into them, just like the McCloskeys did with their beautiful home. And yeah, now it looks like they're these rich people. And I mean, obviously they do have some money, and they've got this giant mansion, this beautiful place to live, and probably many of us are a little bit jealous of that kind of a lifestyle. But that wasn't something that they just stepped into. They spent years rebuilding it, and they and their neighbors all did this in this neighborhood. So they essentially gentrified, brought this neighborhood back from where it had fallen to. So they had this all blocked off. The protesters just break down the gates. Why? Because they think they have the right to, and they're coming, and they're just feet away from the house. And this is at the same time when they were burning down buildings all across this country in riots. McCloskey's come out with a couple of firearms to defend their property. Remember, it was one of the biggest stories of the summer last summer. Well, to get to the point, they've just pleaded guilty. I was disappointed to hear this. They've just pleaded guilty to 2 misdemeanors. So they were much lower charges than what they were charged with. They were charged with felonies. But Mark McCloskey has pleaded guilty to a single count of 4th-degree assault, and Patricia McCloskey pleaded guilty to 2nd-degree harassment. Between the two of them, they have to pay about $3,000 in fines and turn over those weapons that they were pictured holding. But here again, the victims, the people who were behaving correctly, are victimized yet again by the criminal justice system, and this was a George Soros DA. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.